boys and girls. For shared reading day 2, we are going to do the second half of Unit 3 Snap Words as our warm-up activity before we reread the poem that we read yesterday. So please help me read Unit 3 Snap Words. With, than, that, when, was, could, from, mother, should, would, and don't. All right, now that you're all warmed up, let's take a look at the poem that we read yesterday. Yesterday we read the poem, My Winter Friend. We used what we know about letters and sounds to help us solve tricky words. And we asked ourselves, does it look right? Does it sound right? And does it make sense? Today, we're going to see words that are highlighted. We're going to cross-check those words when I read. We will ask ourselves, does the word I read look right? Does it sound right? And does it make sense? Please help me read along with the poem, My Winter Friend. One morning, I went outside to see. I better go back to that highlighted word. I read the word outside. But if it was the word outside, the word would be much longer. And also, I would see that it would have an S in the middle, and then I-D-E, outside. This word only says out. One morning, I went out to see a world of white in front of me. So I rolled 3 snowballs. Let's take a look at our highlighted word. I read snowballs. I see the word balls, but I don't see the word snow. If this was the word snowballs, I would see an S at the beginning. And I don't. I need to read what's on the paper. So I rolled 3 balls and stacked them up, rounded the sides with a push and a jump. I put on a top hat and a scarf and a face. Let's go back to my highlighted word. I read and a scarf. That made sense. I put on a top hat and a scarf and a face. But there's only the word there. No and. So I don't want to be adding words that aren't on the paper. I put on a top hat, a scarf, and a face. I named my winter friend and gave him an embrace. I hope that you will stay for a while. Oh, snowman, you have made me smile. Let's double check my last highlighted word. I read smile. Let's look to see if this is the word smile. S-M-I-O. Smile. It is. I read it correctly. Boys and girls, we just read a poem, and a poem is different from a book. It looks different than a book, doesn't it? I noticed this poem is written in lines in the center of the paper. And each line is not a complete sentence. Let's take a look at the first part of the poem. Okay. One morning I went out to see a world of white in front of me. Well, the poem starts in the middle of my paper. There's a capital letter at the beginning of this line, but there's also a capital letter at the beginning of this line, even though this is just one sentence. This is one whole sentence. One morning I went out to see a world of white in front of me. The period isn't until the end of this line. Okay? So in a textbook, like if we were reading a book, we would not see a capital letter at the beginning of the second line, right? In the middle of a sentence. But poems are different. I also noticed that there's a period at the end of the sentence, right? Not a period at the end of the line. So we just want to make sure that we are noticing some of those differences, okay? These two lines go together. Then there's the next group of lines that go together. So I rolled 3 balls and stacked them up, rounded the sides with a push and a jump. So again, that's one sentence, capital letters at the beginning, and just a period at the end, and it's not written left to right. So another difference between a poem and a text. All right. So boys and girls in Seesaw today, you will have a response to this poem. I want you to tell me what you're thinking about a poem compared to a textbook.